Good morning, everyone, or good afternoon for a lot of you. I'm super excited for today's summer interview series because I have an amazing friend who's going to be joining me. Her name is Kim Waggoner, and you guys are going to just be totally inspired by her story. I had the pleasure of cruising with her when we went on our big cruise on the Allure of the Seas. We were actually roommates, so we got to know each other a little bit better, and I'm telling you, her story is just totally going to amaze you. Kim is such a passionate, positive woman. Hey, Kim. Okay, let me pull you in here. There you are. Hang on one second here. You know, one of these days I will get this like totally seamlessly. There we go. All right. But I'm super excited for her to because it's totally going to inspire you and really just empower you because of what she did.
There I am.
Oh, there you are. Hey, good, good, good.
Okay, I have not done it. I got to turn this down a little bit. Here we go. Hi, everybody. Sorry.
No, you're fine. I was just saying, one of these days
Okay.
it will be completely seamless when we hop on,
Hmm.
and but that's okay. We're
Yep.
all learning and going. I flipped my camera, so I'm like backwards of myself. So if you see me
Oh.
doing weird things, it's
Hmm.
because I'm like, I don't know which way I'm pointing. Anyway, but I'm super excited to have you here today, Kim, and to share
Thanks.
your story. I think so many people are going to be inspired just for the sheer fact alone that you face the worst possible case scenario and you overcame it. You
Hmm.
totally changed
Hmm.
your life, and we're going to hear more about that. I'm not going to steal your thunder. I want you to share about that. But why
Sure.
don't you go ahead and we'll get started here. Just tell me a little bit about your profession as a nurse and
Hmm.
how you got into that. What led you down that field, and anything else you want to tell us as your little intro.
Okay. You can hear me, right?
I can hear you.
Okay, perfect. All right. Well, hi, everybody. And I just wanted to say thank you, Chelsea, so much for inviting me to share my story. I know it sounds really
My
weird.
honor.
Thanks. But it encourages me to be reminded of my story. So I love to be able to share it. And so I thank you to just be able to share with others and that it might help somebody else. So yes, I am a nurse. I was thinking a little bit about the interview questions and I thought, okay, when I was growing up, I had three options in my brain. One, I wanted to be a truck driver, like my uncles. Okay, that did not pan out, right? The other thing, oddly enough, when I was kind of reflecting back to what brought me to be a nurse is when we grew up in rural Indiana, and when I would always get my hair cut, my hairdresser actually had a shop in her house. And so we always went there. We always saw her kids running around. She had a little room. And I thought, how cool would it be to be able to work at home? And so I thought, well, maybe I want to be a hairdresser, right? And
Right.
yeah, and so then basically I had an aunt that was a nurse, and I think maybe that just got me. I just always had a desire to want to help other people. So after high school, went to college, got my RN, started in nursing homes. I did home health care. And the thing that I really loved about that was, especially the home health care, was just the flexibility that was with that, that I could, if my kids were sick, I could reschedule my clients, my patients. The other thing that I loved is that I was like getting to know them. Like I actually had a true relationship with them.
Mm-hmm.
I would get to know if it was an elderly person, I get to know their children or their grandchildren. And it just was a really neat relationship. But again, life changes. I moved. I was looking for a little bit, maybe a different of an adventure.
Mm-hmm.
And I got into emergency nursing. So that is really the bulk of what I did was I practiced emergency medicine. And
Mm-hmm.
so I did that at a huge hospital and then moved back towards where my family was to a little bit more of a rural hospital as well and practiced
Mm-hmm.
in the emergency room there. So,
Okay. So
yeah.
I know you've shared this with me, but I'm sure other people probably aren't familiar. But what is it like when you're working in an emergency situation? I mean,
Yeah.
what did that do to your health?
Yeah. So super stressful. It's like never knowing. There is a thrill and some
Mm-hmm.
adrenaline that kind of comes with that, I guess, in a positive note. But chronically, it's really not. So there was a lot of stress. There was a lot of long hours. I might go 12 hours without maybe using the restroom.
Oh, wow.
Maybe running to the break room and getting, we had these little individual things of peanut butter. It might be getting a scoop of peanut butter. That might have been my meal for the day. It was just kind of a constant on the go. And then I had a family. So I have 2 children of my own. I have 3 stepchildren. And so 5 kids, all in different things. There was a lot of just running all the time. Go, 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 go. I still have to tell myself, you can slow down to eat. It's okay. I mean, there was just always rushing, always stress. But then there was the weekends, there was the evenings, there was the holidays, there was the early mornings, there was the short staffed, there was when I did 2 or 3 people's work, I still only got compensated for mine.
Oh,
You know what I
wow.
mean?
Yeah.
So it was a very stressful environment to be in. And the other thing that was odd, before I got out of the emergency room, what I was starting to feel was I was seeing so many repeat clients, meaning the same person back for chest pain, the same person back for chronic pain, the same person back for diabetes issues. And it's like, I started to go, why are they still coming back for the same problem? Like, I felt like I knew that my job was important and there is a role for nurses to be in an emergency type of situation, but where my heart was, I just felt like I wanted to make more of a difference. I wanted to, if I could help them not get back into the same situation. But I didn't know. I just felt like I was putting Band-Aids on things and I wasn't truly making a difference in the lives of my patients because they were coming back, repeat, same things all the time.
Yeah.
So.
I know you've shared your frustrations about that. So what happened that really redirected just your career path, your life?
Yeah. So in March of 2010, I won't get into that's a whole nother story of how I got to that. But in March of 2010, I was diagnosed with stage 4 lymphoma. Wow. And it was a non-Hodgkin's. And so basically I could not work in the emergency room anymore. I immediately started treatments for that, which took about, I did a 6-month regimen, and then I had 2 years of maintenance. At that time, I didn't know that my career path was changing. I just knew that the doctor told me for approximately 3 years, you're not going to work, especially in that environment. Yeah. And especially in that environment, just because of the possibility of lower immune system because of the treatments and different things that I was going through. And so I didn't know that my path was changing at the time, but let me tell you, just because faith is a huge part of my journey. And so I want to just tell you, the day that I got diagnosed, I came home, I started to say why just for a second. And I heard God say, I have not abandoned you. And so I decided that I had a choice to make that day. I could either mope around, be sad and depressed and why me and poor me, or I could choose to see cancer as a blessing instead of a curse. And I thought, man, you know what? My favorite story in the Bible is about Joseph, where he basically sent Joseph ahead of the family to help the family later on, right? And so I thought, cool, I can partner with God. What was meant for evil, he can mean for good. And so I thought there's something might different happen. Again, I didn't have all the answers then, but I thought if there's a way that I can help somebody not be in the situation that I am, and be 36 years old with 2 kids going, am I going to see them graduate? Am I going to see, which again makes me emotional thinking about that because I've watched both of my kids graduate from high school, another one from college, my son get married. But that's really where the start of my career path changed, is because I decided I wanted to be on this preventative side. And during that time is when I was introduced to, and you might be asking me this and getting to it, but a company called Shackley. So
that's amazing. So I know, because you said really helping people is where your heart is,
Right.
So tell me, what does your life look like now? Since you partnered with God and you partnered with Shackley, right?
Yeah.
What does that look like?
So if I think about my health, over and over and over again, my oncologist said, I don't see people do this well. You know what I mean? Like he actually told me 2 years ago at my checkup, he's like, you are the second longest person that I've seen with this diagnosis not have a relapse. So
Wow.
it meant that I changed the foods that I was eating, the things that I was drinking, which I mean would have been just Diet Coke. Do you know what I'm saying? Like,
Right.
so being in the Shaklee community, I was just really learning how to take care of my body better, but not in an overwhelming way. I learned that it was simple changes that I could make on a daily basis over time actually added up to big results in my health. So my health is, I feel amazing. I say that I'm cancer free because nobody's told me anything different. So I say I was healed. So my health is better. What else did you ask?
Well, just, what does your life look like
Oh,
today?
yeah,
And,
yeah.
one thing I know that you shared this with me too, just the stresses of your work, how there was a correlation between that ongoing stress and how your body reacted over time. How is that
Yes.
different today?
Yeah. So so let me just tell you what I guess I'm doing now. I did go back to work after 3 years. I did go back to work in an office, which was a lot less stress. But I still felt like it wasn't my practice. You know what I mean? Like I wanted to be able to, it's not in a rebel sort of way, but I wanted to do things the way that I felt God leading me to be able to teach and share and educate and equip people. And so there was that conflict, feeling like I was under somebody else's authority and I needed to really follow their rules. Not that they were wrong, it just wasn't maybe the way that I would do it. And I wanted to look at things at a holistic level, talking about, I mean, because not only has my health changed, but my mind has changed. There's been a lot of change that has happened over the last nine years. But so how my life looks now is full-time, I'm a health coach and a Shaklee distributor. And so I kind of, okay, so like I've got my niece here with me today. I got to pick her up. You know what I mean? Like I said, okay, I gotta be gone for about 30 minutes in my office. So I can't tell you how different my life is now being free. Freedom is a huge core value of mine, to be able to be free to, we took care of my father-in-law for 4 years in our house, and just to have that freedom and flexibility to do that. I'm free to drive to Chicago to see my daughter whenever I want to see my daughter. I'm free to meet a client at a coffee shop and just hear about their life and share some recommendations with them. I think that is the huge thing for me, is just that freedom, the flexibility, and that I don't feel that, yes, there is stress in life, but it's not the way that I used to feel. And so I think that just that freedom is so huge to me. To not, I mean, if I miss something, it's because I choose to. Do you see what I'm saying? Like, I have the choice. It's my choice on the things that I do, the activities I participate in. It's allowed me to be able to do some mentoring, in our local school, because it's my schedule and I make it around the things that are important to me.
So I'm curious, you get to work directly with people, right? And building relationships. You said that's really important to you, right? To have that personal interaction. How has that looked for you? What has that meant for your life to be able to work directly with clients? And honestly, what has that meant for their lives?
Well, I mean, again, kind of when I alluded to when I did home health care, I liked that relationship that I was building with them, and so that is just really important to me. I had a client that she was elderly, and she was just, I mean, every month she would order products from me, and we would talk, and she would come over and visit. She ended up passing away, but I was able just to spend some time with her, and something that was so cool when I saw one of her daughters after. I had taken her like a little care package and put a blanket in with it, and like when I was visiting her on hospice, and her daughter said, "Do you know?" And I said, "I really miss your mom," and she said, "Sorry." She said, "Do you know that she asked to be buried with your blanket?"
Oh my
And,
goodness.
and,
Wow.
and if that isn't that meaning that you actually made an impact in somebody's life, like you know what I'm saying? Like that is so huge to me, to be able to make that, that impact, and just know that I'm just a listening ear sometimes to them. And here it is. It all started because I found a supplement that worked really well for me, and that was credible and easy to share with other people. Yeah.
Wow, that's so powerful. I'm curious too. You had said this earlier that, you were like Joseph, blazing a trail for your family. Can you talk more about that? What does that mean for you? What does that mean?
Yeah, that's so huge. So I think just my personal example with health. Okay, so the choices that I'm making for my kids, my grandkids, my community. I just did a little Facebook Live the other day about being in the gym and seeing some younger girls getting trained on the weights, and just thinking that everybody's watching. You know what I mean? Like thinking about that they're watching me, that, you know what I mean? And just that opportunity that we have to impact the next generation, especially girls. But so I'm teaching my kids as they're growing up, and hopefully my grandkids someday, about making, good, healthy choices. But again, it's being in a business. There's a lot of rewards, but it's hard work too. You know what I mean? Like it's just, I've had to learn and I've had to grow. There's been times when I've wanted to, give up, right? Not because it was, but you know what I mean? Like sometimes it's just that perseverance. And so I hope that I'm teaching them that they can persevere through things when they have a passion and a mission and a goal, to keep going for that anything is possible. The other thing, which I kind of have just really been now as an empty nester, and my son is married, and there's maybe talk of grandbaby someday, just thinking, how cool would it be to be the grandma that my mom has always been able to be for my kids, to be able to be at all the events, to buy those extra pair of cleats, you know what I mean? Just to be able to do that. And so I thought about that. I also, and I don't know if this is, maybe I'm getting a little off here, but the other thing
you
that
go
I never,
how you want to go.
Okay. The other thing that I never really thought about was retirement. Whole nother story, but there is some things in my past that didn't allow me to, that I was kind of in a survival mode. And so I didn't really save for retirement very much. And so I wasn't even thinking about it. Like before, my Shackley income was, to be able to stay home a little bit more and do different things like that. But now it's like, gosh, I'm doing something that I love. And if I'm doing this until I'm 85, Lord willing, I've lived that long. This is extra retirement income for me that I didn't even plan on in the beginning. You know what I mean? And because it's not something that I want to retire from. I always want to help people. I always want to make an impact. I always want to make a difference. And I'm able to do that through this business. And so that was just an aspect of the business I never really thought of before, is that I'm actually not even talking about saving for retirement, but that I fluidly always have this income that's coming in additional, that I will continue to have as long as I'm, here.
Yeah.
So
right, because you don't want to retire from something that you love, right?
No, I don't.
It's so true.
That's
so true.
Yeah.
All right, Kim, what is some advice you would give to medical professionals, nurses specifically, who maybe are facing the same pressures that you felt, how you had said you loved helping people, but you felt like you were frustrated with seeing the same people time after time. You were frustrated with, the stresses of your job as well. You didn't feel like you were helping as much as you possibly could by educating. So what would you tell people who are listening? What advice would you give them?
Yeah. So first of all, for nurses or healthcare professionals in general, I actually had a physician reach out to me too, from some things that she had seen me, that I had posted. I had said that you're either going to make time for wellness or you're going to find time for illness. And so that really made me think that there's two things that I want to say to health professionals. We, as a profession, I think, do not tend to think about taking care of ourselves. So that in a sense would be our health. Because when you're in that mind of that you always want to help other people, it's almost like you feel guilty if you take time for yourself. And I think even more so if I'm talking to women and moms that are nurturing and caregiving. They may have a family, or maybe they have, other people that they're caring for, even outside of their job, that we tend to put ourselves last on the back burner. And so the first thing that So the first thing that I want to say to healthcare professionals is that you need to make yourself a priority. You need to make your health a priority. And that doesn't have to be overwhelming. I've found that there's just a couple healthy habits that I do through Shackley every single day on repeat that has made a huge difference in my energy levels, my and just nutrition that I'm getting. And so it doesn't have to be complex, but find time to do it, right? So that would be the one thing. And then I guess just the second thing is I never knew that something like this was available or possible for me to be able to do what I love, which is help other people and improve their health through a business like Shackley. And so I guess I would say just take a look. It doesn't mean you have to commit to anything, but just take a look. Have the conversation. Of course, if you're in my group with me, if you know Chelsea, reach out to her. But the possibility is there for you to be able to do what you went to school for, which is to help other people, and to yet earn an income with it. And one thing I do want to say too, I struggled in the very beginning making this decision to retire myself as a nurse, because I'm like, what are people going to think? What are they going to think? You have a degree. You have I was not just an ER nurse, but I was also a house supervisor. So I had some supervision experience. You know what I mean? Like there's probably that little bit of fear I had of what are people going to think? But I had to get over that. You know what I mean? Like I had to get over that. I knew where God was leading me to go. And I felt like I could help more people and yet be true to my values, especially when it came to my time and the stress and my health, that this was just really a perfect match. So.
Well, that's amazing. Thank you so much for sharing your story. Is there any last thing that you'd want to share that maybe you didn't share for the people watching?
No, I think just along the way that I had wrote down a couple things here, because of taking kind of like that leap of faith and getting into, my Shackley business. There have been things that I would have never done before. I mean, obviously you and I were on a cruise together a couple months ago, right?
Like, I'm wearing my earrings in honor of that.
Yes. Oh, sweet. I have traveled on paid trips, 3 paid trips. But I've also traveled on, just to go to different locations for our conferences, and I've met amazing people. You and I wouldn't even know each other right now.
I know.
And so you're inspiring, encouraging me, and I'm thinking, oh my gosh, what other military moms do I know? They need to talk to Chelsea. But the other thing is the personal growth that has happened that I'm thinking that I would have never, ever, ever done. And just the challenges, in a positive way. I think that's just kind of like the side thing, the friendships that happen, the culture, the community, the support, the love, you know what I mean? Like I didn't even know that really was out there and existed. But I've really learned to persevere. I mean, you kind of do that when you go through a cancer diagnosis, but I think the business aspect, really has challenged me to dig deeper, to get into personal development, to persevere. And then it's taken me places that I would have never, I've been to California, 2 or 3 times now, and on that cruise and so,
That's amazing. Wow.
Fun stuff.
And I just have to say, I know you're impacting so many lives, not just with your story right now, but just in your daily life and how you love and serve and always point people back to God. You're always giving God the glory for every crazy turn that he takes you, every pivot, right?
Yeah, right. Like we're moving, which is a whole nother thing, but
That's so true.
Yeah.
All right. Well, thank you so much, Kim.
Yeah.
I really appreciate you taking the time to share with us today, and it's been my honor to be the platform for you to share and get your story out there.
Yeah. Well, thanks so much.
So,
Hey there, buddy.
yeah. Oh, yeah, here we go. We have a little cameo here. But thank
Yeah.
you so much. I hope you
Yeah.
enjoy the rest of your day.
Yeah, you too. Thanks, Chelsea.
Thanks, Kim.
Bye-bye.
Bye. So one last thing I want to say here is, Kim had talked about, really, I think it comes down to attitude is everything, right? So for all of these different areas in her life, it was really about her attitude and how she looked at that situation. And I think that that can be the make or break in everything. We can get the worst news of our life, and while I'm not saying we shouldn't take time to grieve and feel those emotions, but I really feel like our attitude, I know this has been true in our life, with moving in military. I've seen other military families where the attitudes were pretty poor and everyone felt it. And so for us and for our kids, when we move, we look at everything as an adventure. And I feel like our kids really embrace that. And so they look at life as an adventure. So if you are looking to grow yourself as a person and to really grow your own attitude and how you look at things, I'm offering a free mastermind group on the 15 Invaluable Laws of Growth by John Maxwell. It's going to start on June 20th. Comment below if you want information for that. I will tell you, if you don't have a plan for personal growth, you're not alone, because I didn't for a really long time either, until it just kind of happened in my lap and I started to grow, and eventually I actually became aware that there is this thing called personal growth, just like Kim was talking about how much we've grown just naturally through what we do. But if you'd like that, then go ahead and comment below and I'll send you the link for the group. And then if you guys are watching the replay, tell us you're watching the replay. We'd love to get your feedback. I would personally love your feedback on what do you love about the episodes? What would you like to see more of? What could we do better? If you have a profession that you would love to hear somebody talk about who is also in that field, then comment below and let me know, and I will find an amazing person with an amazing story to be able to share and inspire and invite them to this. So much, you guys. Thank you so much. This is totally my honor to be able to do this. I hope you guys are inspired. I hope you guys are just encouraged by these stories and these amazing people that it is possible to live an integrated life, which basically means that you are keeping your priorities, and you're doing something you love at the same time. That's integrated living. It's not two worlds fighting with one another for time. It's about you embracing your time and loving what you do. I hope you guys have a great day, and we will talk to you next week.